Guys, Robert1 here, coming at you with my 23rd place Brotherhood 1k deck profile. Now, I played Altergeist for this event. After all the testing, all the decisions, I decided to go with Altergeist at the last minute. I was testing Geist and I was testing Pendulums, and basically, with all the different options I had to myself, and with the Nibiru and all the other promos coming out, I kind of felt like this deck was probably better than Pendulums to play, and honestly, this deck overperformed. It only really was my own fault, the reasons why I lost some matches, and I only lost on the bubble on the last round, and really to bricking and not knowing what one card did because it was in German, and basically the deck did really overperform. It was a card that really did, it was a deck that did really well. I really liked how it did, and it's probably one of the best decks in the format, in my personal opinion, Altergeist in general, because it just doesn't really care about any matchups other than True Draco. So, I'm gonna tell you what my matchups were, and we're gonna get into the profile. So, matchups for the event. Round 1, Muskets, very easy to beat for this deck because the deck is very powerful now because of the promos, but because of the deck really relies on its normal summon too much, this deck can out that very easily because it has a lot of ways to out the normal summon. So I won the round 1 because of that. Round 2, I only drew this match because Lost World was in German. If I knew what the Lost World said, then I would have just made a Boral Sword and killed my opponent. Basically, I had a Nibiru, what was set, and Altergeist Multi-Faker and an Altergeist Melasik, with a Marionetta that I drew for turn, and an Imperm set. We had a minute on the clock. I asked really quick, yada yada yada, can you do this? Because he had the Nibiru token, and I didn't know that Lost World didn't count for meant for only your opponent's. If your opponent had a token, it meant only your opponent. I thought I was going on a quick assumption that it only meant both fields, and because of that, I didn't make the Boral Sword in time because we had like 30 seconds left at this point, and I lost because of that. I drew because of that. Muskets again, very easily won. It was like, deal with a normal summon, you win the match. Salad only lost because of game 3. I bricked Super Poly Double Compulse, Solemn Strike, and a Altergeist Protocol, and he evenly matched me. So that was why. Orcust, very easy matchup for this deck. You can really just out all their cards because you've just got so many ways to disrupt, like the Mermaid. You've got so many ways to disrupt their summons. You've just got so many ways to stop them that it's not hard for this deck. One striker, I won against that easily. Literally, this deck has no hard striker matchup in general. And one Orcus, which I lost to because, basically, this was my own fault. Basically, because I play Inspector Border, I lost this match because it prevented me from being able to play Altergeists. And I realized after this event that I am going to cut Inspector Border because, yes, it's a good card, but if they just set a Jackalope, or I can't be over the monster, or they have a Pankratrops, it does really hurt you because I had to wait, because he summoned Pankratrops, I had 3 set cards, and I had the Border. So I had to waste a Solemn Strike and a Judgment on a Reboot and the Pankratrops just to be able to play the game, and that's just to be able to prevent him from playing the game, I should say, actually, and that wasn't really worth it. So if I didn't have the Inspector Border, he would have had the Pankratrops still, but I would have been able to do a lot more on his turn because I would have been able to summon like a Multi-Faker. I would have been able to then get a Siliquis. I would have been able to just continuously play the game more and more, but because I chose this route, I kind of ended myself in the long run. So, yeah, this deck did perform. I lost on the bubble, which was my own fault, yes, but still, I feel like this deck is really powerful, really strong, and I wanted to show it off anyway. So, without further ado, let's get into it so I can show you guys what my Altergeist deck list looks like. So, first of all, free Marionetta. It helps you with the grind, it gets the Melasik back from the graveyard, and it just gives you more trap cards to be able to play the game. You want to be playing this card at free no matter what. It's a free of, it's literally just, I get to play the game, and it lets me have more cards to play the game. So, you want to be playing this card at free. Triple Altergeist Melasik. This is the card that keeps the deck alive, seeing as it's just, this is the card that will let me link away to get to the one Multi-Faker, and also it's just a really good card to just outground your opponent, get rid of cards they have, and just amazing in general. Like, I don't know how many times on that day I hit them for 500 and said, send that back row to the grave, send that monster to the grave, send that field spell. Like, literally, this card is amazing, and it's one of the reasons why the deck is still so good. 2 Silcatus. You should never play this card at more than 2, but you should never play this card. You should never play this card at 3, and you should never play this card at 1. But this card should always be played at 2. Being that this card, yes, it's a very good card to summon off Multi-Faker, but if you draw it, it is not the best card. It's still okay if you draw it with something like a Manifestation or something, because then you can make an Almirage and continuously loop that, but this card is not a good card to open. The best time to open this card is when you have no other Altergeist cards and you see a spoofing. So this card is good, but it's not something you want to open, or maybe if you see a Konkuri as well, but I still wouldn't say it's a good opening card. But it's still a very good card in the deck. The one and only Multi-Faker, yes, in the Prismatic Secret Rare. Basically, this card, I don't care that this card is at 1. I literally thought I would care more about this card being at 1 now, but the whole event I was like, I don't care. This card is at 1 and I don't care. It was really a surprise to me because, like, I thought that it being at 1 would hurt me a lot, but playing it and actually doing the games, it was like, this card being a 1 means nothing. I could still play the game very easily, and if I have it, I just keep gaining more and more advantage. And that's what this kind of deck is, and that's what this deck is. It's a deck that outgrinds the opponent and then just kills them. And it's like, it was really weird that I didn't really miss the other 2. It just felt weird. 1 Konkuri, a card that just beats Striker down. Basically, this card said to my opponent, the 1 Striker player, because I searched it both games, you can't attack me with Hayate. I can negate your multi-roll, and I can stop you from playing the game. This card is a Sky Striker killer. This card is protection, and yes, it's the worst card to open in the deck, but this card won me matches. This card was amazing. This card stopped a UTC. This card did so much throughout the entire day, and it was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, honestly, this was just insane in general, and I was really happy with this. I was really, really happy with this the whole day. And I did open it once, but I just 1-for-1'd it away and played the game. It was like, I don't care if I draw this card. This is one of the best Altergeist cards, hands down. You need to be playing it at least 1. For hand traps, though, we played Triple Ash, obviously best hand trap. Double Ogre. I was playing 2 Ogre purely for the fact that Pendulum and any deck that has face-up activated spell and trap cards would lose to this card. So I was thinking like Guru Control, True Draco, Pendulum, anything along those lines loses to this card. And yes, I didn't use it very often. I think the most I did with it was pop a multi-roll or pop a Lost World, but this card did still do very well. I might just cut it for Ash Blossoms. Sorry, not Ash Blossom, for Effect Veiler, but this card still is very good, and I don't know if I'll Kaya. It's still something I feel really good with, but it's an iffy card. It's an iffy card. It's one of those cards that is very good, but it's a card that could be something else potentially. But it did perform very well. It's bad against Orcus, but that's like, it's the only matchup that I found it very bad against in the whole tournament. For spells, let's just move the monsters to the side. For spells, we played Triple Extravagance because Pot of Greed is great, and I rarely used my extra deck. I think I only summoned like 1 or 2 cards from my extra deck each match. 1 Pot of Duality because basically Duality says if I don't have Melaseek, then I just get 3 extra cards, and it's like, nice. And 1 1-for-1, just another way to get to the Melaseek, really. And every time I saw this card, it was really, really good. The only game I think it lost me was the game where I drew it with the Inspector Border because I couldn't play the game because I had Inspector Border. And that's it. I only lost that 1 game because of this card, and I should have probably procced the Spectre Border off for this card and summoned a Melaseek and gone even further. I honestly feel like that because this card very, very overperformed. And Border's being cut from my deck. For traps, though, we played Triple Judgment, and triple strike. I feel like this is the best solemn ratio you should be playing. This card negates all the evenly matches, red reboots, stuff along those lines, whereas this card just prevents your opponent from summoning cards that really hurt you and just gets rid of problems that you don't really want to deal with. I feel like this is the best ratio of cards that you should be playing, and I have no issues with this ratio whatsoever so far, so it's a very good ratio in general. Other traps though, triple impermanence because it's another hand trap. I never drew impermanence faker though, which kind of upset me a lot because I kind of was like, even though it's at 1, I could probably draw it still, right? But I never drew it. It was kind of upsetting, but I'm not going to get into it. Triple personal spoofing, triple protocol, and 1 manifestation. I feel like this is the best Altergeist trap lineup. Basically 3 spoofing, so you have a third, so the third one can be sided out at times. 2 protocol and 1 manifestation because they're searchable with Marionetta. This ratio I had no problems with throughout the entire day. I felt like it was the best ratio in general in my personal opinion, just because it didn't hurt me at all, and I felt like it just gave me more potential in general with what I had. So 3, 2, 2, 1 honestly is the best ratio in my personal opinion. For other traps though, we played 2 compulse. This card very well overperformed. This card game 1 ruined the Salad player because I just compulsed the Foxy back to hand and he had no more plays after that. Against Orcus, I just compulsed the Phoenix, got rid of that, and then watched the opponent not be able to play the game from there on. Against any deck, really, that just relies on normal summons, such as Magical Muskets, compulsed the Magical Musketeer, stopped him from playing the game from there. Like, honestly, this card did so well throughout the tournament, and it's like, I can't believe how well Compulse actually did in the event. And I was like, I was stunned, because this card is actually insane, this format. Just being able to get rid of those 1 or 2 monsters that really do just deal problems, and then summon a multi-faker off that as well. It was insane, and just having more ways to get rid of monsters was really, really good. It was really powerful. 2 Crackdown. I should have been playing more Link monsters that I can make with my opponent's stuff, like Tropological Bomber Dragon, Trishbane, and stuff along those lines, but nonetheless, this card still did very, very good, and I wouldn't change this card for anything else, because it's just like, steal your stuff, same reason as Compulse, and just go even further beyond. It's like, I like your stuff, it's my stuff now, you're not playing the game with that stuff. And finally, 1 Imperial Order, because Imperial Order is just like it's a really good card. Like, honestly, I only drew it once, the whole event. I drew it against Magical Musketeers. I won the match. Because not because of this card specifically, but because it was like, I flipped it, and because it was the only trap I could flip, I summoned Multi-Faker and just played the game. So it was like, it was very, very, very good, the entire event. I had literally 0 issues with the card in general. And because of that, it was like, the deck performed very well. The main deck was very solid, I think. Like, maybe the Ogre could be changed to something else, but everything else was very good, I believe. But let's get into other cards. So, for Link monsters, we played triple Link Karibo, 1 Claramrushka, and 1 Almirage. Now, I've been seeing people playing 2 Almirage, 2 Karibo, but I don't like playing a second Almirage. I feel like Almirage is the weakest out of these monsters because its effect only protects from effect destruction, and I don't think that is very good. I feel like it isn't the best kind of thing you can have, and I feel like it could be better, so I feel like this card wasn't that great. It's still here because of when you open Siliquise and Manifestation, it's like a bit of a soft lock, but I felt like this wasn't very needed. I feel like this is better because it works on the Secret Village and stuff, which is really nice. And these are the best ones because the card that you mainly want to be linking away is the Meliseek. So I feel like always having access to a Link Karibo to just decrease your opponent's attack points to 0 and then summon it back later on is always nice. Even if this gets cooled by twice, I still have the 3rd. So it's like, it's not a problem that this card is at the number that it is. Other extra deck monsters though, we play triple Hextia. Best Altergeist monster, I only summoned like 1 every game though. There was like 1 game I think I summoned 2, but I only really summoned 1. I never really needed to summon this card the whole event. It was just like, oh, I can make a bigger monster, so let's do it. I never felt like the need. Like, the only times I ever did it was like to get a Siliquise effect to return a Protocol and a Meliseek to search. Like, it wasn't needed really, and I didn't really care about it. One Nightmare Phoenix, summoned it once to pop a random back row that I wasn't sure on. Yeah, it didn't matter when I popped it, and then I just killed my opponent. One Burrow Sword, never summoned it. Never summoned it. Should have summoned it, but never summoned it. So, yeah. Those are the Link monsters, though. Honestly, wouldn't change any of the Link monsters. I feel like the Link monster lineup is fine. But for other cards, we played one Muddy Mud Dragon, one Predaplant Dragospedia, one Solomon Great Violet Chimera, one Starving Venom, and one Thunder Dragon Titan. Now, these are just super poly targets. Obviously, they have their reasonings. This one is because different type, same attribute and different type decks exist. This one is because Pendulum exists and I want to fuse the Vortex. This one is for Salamangreat. The one time I drew Super Poly, the whole event, I got evenly matched. One Starving Venom. Oh, also he Cosmic Cyclone me that game as well. I should add that. One Starving Venom for those dark decks such as Orcust, and one Thunder Dragon Titan for if I just come up against a Thunder Dragon deck. Like, I'm not going to go too deep into it. Like, they're obvious reasons. But for side deck, the side deck was honestly very good, and I really do like my choices for the side deck. My side deck was basically double Lancia because Banish decks aren't as good, but I felt like it was very correct. I didn't see it, but I feel like I will bump it up to 3 now because I'm cutting the borders. Triple Inspector Border. I sided this in once. It lost me the match. Never again. This card is coming out. No, this card is bad. Triple Nibiru. This card right here, when I saw it once, no, twice against dinosaurs, it won me the match. I mean, it would have won me the match. It should have won me the match. But obviously stuff happened, and this card is just insane. Its existence kills combo decks. It beats Pendulum. It is insane. It literally wiped out the dinosaurs like 3 times. Like, well, no, not 3 times, twice. So yeah, free Nibiru, very good. My personal choice for this event, triple Dimension Shifter. Now, this is my mentality on Dimension Shifter. Dimension Shifter is a card that says, against Orcust, you can't play the game. So if I'm forced to go second, I put in free Dimension Shifter, set 4, set 5, maybe have a Faker in hand or something along those lines, and pass turn. And then next turn, I just prevent them from doing anything because they're not going to send anything to the graveyard. Dimension Shifter is just going to banish anything on their turn if they choose to go any further, and it's a very good card. Like, this deck honestly gives nothing about its graveyard except for with Meliseek. So I was like, this card is very powerful, and I don't know why people aren't playing it. So it was like, the Orcust matchup I played, game 2, I literally just dropped this. He passed. He literally passed. I proceeded to set my back row and just summon a Marionetta, and I just killed him from there on because he couldn't play the game. I just had enough back row and resources to prevent him from playing the game. So it was like, this card is very good in Altergeist. It's a card that I'm definitely going to continue siding in this deck from forward because it's just such a good card. It really is just a very powerful card in general. But for other cards, we did play 2 Secret Village. Very good. I never really saw it against Striker, but if I did, it would have probably won me the match. And 2 Super Polymerization. I think I'm going to cut as well because I didn't really use Super Polymerization at all throughout the day. The one time I could have, it was like I bricked anyway, so it was like, oh, I could get that monster, but I got evenly matched, so it was like, what happens, happens. But it was like, I feel like this card isn't very necessary, but nonetheless, the side deck was very good with like Nibiru's, Secret Village, Dimension Shifters, and Lancias in its own right. But guys, that is the deck. This deck did perform very well. There are obviously changes, such as we're cutting these, we're cutting this. We're going to cut these because they didn't really do much, and we're going to obviously cut the Super Polymerization targets. I'll probably put in more better Link monsters to play in this deck, just for other options, like maybe Avramax, Borolo, just stuff along those lines that I can make to just have more chances of winning. But guys, Altergeist, it performed very well throughout the entire event. I really did like the event as well. The Brotherhood always does very good events. They are an amazing locals, and I'm very happy to have been able to do it again. But my Brotherhood curse still continues. I always lose on the bubble. I always lose on the bubble at Brotherhood. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think of my Altergeist deck profile in the comment section below, and please go check out the Brotherhood. It is a great locals if you want a competitive scene, and there are a lot of good people, and the people there are just really nice in general. But guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been RoboBat1 with my Altergeist deck profile, and I will see you guys next time. RoboBat1 signing out.